Hey guys, so here's the little test we're gonna do today. Basically, I'm recording from the HDMI capture card, and this is a screen recording of the Canon EOS M running a Magic Lantern crop mode by Danne. As you can see, we've got a pretty interesting subject in focus, which is basically uh, a sheet of paper I um, created to do a quick demo of the crop marks, the custom overlays, and yeah. So I want to talk about aspect ratios. So a lot of people ask me on this channel, what is the difference between the native aspect ratio you choose in the main menu of the Magic Lantern, and what's the aspect ratio and resolution you choose in raw video tab. So as you can see, we can manipulate both. So if you're using a Magic Lantern crop mode by Danne, you will have an option of the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, 2:1 aspect ratio, 220:1 aspect ratio, 235:1, and 239:1. So the scope. But that is essentially the crop factors and the aspect ratios that mainly apply to 3:3 and 1:3 modes. Because 1:1 modes, they live in their different realities, so they have their own aspect ratios. Like, for example, 233 for 2.5K or 2.39:1 for 2.8 and 3K resolutions. But the idea of this video is to show that you can actually manipulate the resolution and the aspect ratio within the limit of the native aspect ratio you set in the main menu. So, for example, if you use a 16 by 9 aspect ratio and you film in 4.2K mode, 1:3, you can easily dial it down, like in this example you can see right now, dial it down to a new UHD. So in this case, the aspect ratio remains the same, 16 by 9, but the captured resolution is 3840 to 2160 instead of 4.2K resolution. The problem with Magic Lantern crop mode is that the preview stays as the native aspect ratio and the mode you selected. Like, for example, if you film in 4.2 K 1:3 mode, the preview on the screen will be for 4.2K, which means that if you dial down the resolution in the raw menu to UHD, for example, which is slightly smaller, you will not see the limits of the frame you're actually shooting. So I will not talk much here because this is pretty much self-explanatory. I just used a lot of different resolution, native resolutions, native aspect ratios, and I applied different additional crop and aspect ratios within the raw tab. So, for example, we will go through 1:3 modes, mostly 4.2 and UHD mode, and 2.2 and 2:1 aspect ratios for 1.3 modes, 1:3 modes, and also the 1:1 modes, specifically 2.5K. I will try to use as many different aspect ratios. Let's call it the second aspect ratio that you use inside the native aspect ratio. And After that, after this session, you will see a different session which will focus mainly on how to create overlays. So the overlays we're using in this demo are a bit different from those overlays we go through in the second part, but essentially they're the same. So what I'm gonna do after that, I will put a link under this video so you can actually download the basic. You'll be able to download the basic overlays and play with them using GIMP, which is GIMP. It's an open source, free to use software, which is available, I guess, both for Mac and for Intel based machines. And yeah, so the rest is on the screen. So enjoy the demo and see you guys around. Take care and bye bye. Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to create the safe area crop marks overlays for Magic Lantern Canon EOS M. And for that we're going to use some guidelines from this little file I created to make sure that we don't get lost in terms of margins and stuff. So as you can see, I put 3 categories, and those categories are basically the 1x3 modes, 1x1 modes, and some general sizing of the crop marks. let's start with general, scope full preview, and UHD full preview. This is basically the just the margins that you will get for 16:9 and full screen preview. So full screen is 3:2. As you know, the overlay sizing for the Magic Lantern crop mode is 720 by 480, which corresponds to the resolution of the screen on the native screen on Canon EOS M. And if you take, for example, 239 by 1, which is scope resolution, you will effectively have the safe area of 720 by 301 or 720 by 405. And but let's go through the 1:3 modes and 1:1 modes. So one thing, Canon EOS M can only hold up to nine overlays. This is the maximum. If you load more, it will say that unfortunately I can read only 9. These are overlay files, are very tiny BMP files, indexed BMP files, which can be created, converted, manipulated using GIMP. So GIMP is the open source editor for graphic files, and it's open source, it's free. You can download it through the link I will post under this video. Also, we will use a template, and this template is basically a canvas of 720 by 480, which I will also put for download under this video. Let's see what resolutions we have. So while we do this, basically when you film in different resolutions with different previews of the frame in different modes, you will have a certain crop of the sensor preview, and this corresponds to, for example, if we're using 4.2K 16:9, your screen resolution will be not the screen resolution, but the frame resolution, and its maximum will be 4128 by 2322. This is crop mode resolutions for this mode, and same for UHD. It will be 3840 by 2160. If you use 2:1 aspect ratio for 4.4K, the resolution will be 4416 by 22, and so on. And for 1:1 modes, well, most of you know it very well, so 2520, 2880, 2560 for 1440p. So they have their own native aspect ratio, which I put as a frame aspect ratio here, and the mode. I will most probably put this table also for download somewhere on Patreon, something like that. So what else? So when you film something, you have a standard preview, right, for the frame. So for example, if you chose 4.2K 16:9 mode in 1:3 mode and crop mode, you will have a 16:9 preview of the frame with which corresponds to this resolution. But for example, if you want to crop that resolution on top of the native crop, if you want to crop it to UHD and you want to film in 3840 by 2160, right, your preview in this mode will still be the big one, so 4128 by 2322. And in order to create the safe margins, so for you as guides for you to see what's in the frame, what's not in the frame, we will need to convert this 3840 2160 to the proportions of the screen that it will be occupying on the 4.2K preview. So I did this calculation chart, and mostly it's okay. But these are the pixels, the safe margin top, bottom, left, and right. These are the actual frame, rectangular frame cutouts that you will see when the clip is recorded. So you will not see this, you will see this, right? Because this is the crop on top of a crop that you opt in before the shoot. So for that, we need to create something like margins, right? So, okay, so this is a canvas, right? And what I did, I already created a 16:9 cutout. So the black bars on top and the bottom will correspond to the 16:9 frame inside. So the white one, which is the background color here, is indexed as 0, and 0 means transparent. And the foreground color is basically the color that you can choose from. For example, right now it's red, which is 8, index 8. Green is 7, 6, I think this one is the green, 6, and the cyan or light blue is 5. And also we have yellow, which is, I guess, 15, and we got blue, which is, I think, number 9. Let me just check, because I have this chart on my phone, and I will just tell you what's what. So the color indexes, so 0 is transparent, pass through, so nothing is blocking the view through that bar. For example, right now this white one is the index 0, so you will, whatever you're previewing on the screen on Magic Lantern will be seen here. And you will later see that in the other video I recorded through the OBS Studio. So I recorded the live view from the camera. So there's index 1, 2, 3. Those are semi-transparent black or whatever. So what's interesting is that we have index 5, which is light blue, as I said, right? So that is the index 5. We got index 6, which is green. So this one is green. We got index 8, which is, I guess, red. Index blue, which is 9. So this one. And we've got index 15, this one, which is yellow. So this palette is integrated inside this file. So this tiny little file of whatever, 5 kilobytes contains the indexes. So now what we need to do, I will clear this out. In order to clear this out in GIMP, you just basically use the rectangle selection tool. You select this, right click, edit, fill with background color. And background color here is white, which is index 0, which is transparent. So everything will be, if you upload this file right now into the camera, which we'll call base 0000, it will be absolute transparent. So you will see everything, right? What's on the preview screen. But that's not the point of our exercise. So we need to create a letterbox. Let's say we want to film in 4.2, right? And which is 16:9, which is in normal conditions. That's the 3:2. We need to create 16:9 guides, right? So in order to create 16:9 guides, we need to create a rectangle here like this. And when you choose this rectangle, on the left side, you will have position. So this is whatever, X, Y, and the size of the frame. So we know the size of the frame of the 16:9, right? This is here, over here. That's the size of the frame. Remember, the size of the frame is calculated in pixels of the native screen. So instead of 720 by 480, which corresponds to the size of the 3:2 aspect ratio, we need 720 by 405. So we just put here size 720, 405, right? So now we have this, but we need to position it. And in order to position it, we need to know horizontal and vertical margins, well, let's say from the left. Sorry. So we go here and we see that the margins are 38 and 0. So vertical top and bottom, which corresponds to left, and 0, which corresponds to from up to down. So we put 0 position here, right? And we put, what was that? 38 here. That's it. This is now perfectly centered. Oh, sorry, I just did something bad again. So the size is 720 by 405, and the position is 0 to 38, right? So now we have this perfectly centered square. So now why we need this? Because basically this is the preview screen, right, that we can use or not. So what I usually do, I just fill it in with foreground color. Now it's red. But if you upload it like this, then you will have these white bars transparent, and this one will be red. So your entire preview screen, the central part, which is 16:9, will be red, so you won't see anything. But now we can use this one, which is the fill bucket. We put the we change the foreground color to 2. 2 is peach black, and we just put it here, and it doesn't work, right? Why? Because there is no such thing as rectangular selection here and here. Why? Because we selected only the central part, so which doesn't work, right? But we already have this one, right? So we can choose this one and move it somewhere here. Try to do like this, right? But it doesn't work. So what we're gonna do again, we're gonna select everything and fill it with background color. And now it's white again, right? So now what we need to do is to put 2 black bars here and here, and let's do it, right? So again, this one, but instead, so the position will be 0 and 0, so it's perfectly on the corner, and the size is 720, right? And here is 38. That's it. So now we can fill this with a background color of black. That's it. So now we need the bottom one, so another one, and the position will be, so the size will be 720 by 38, right? So the same size, but now we need to position it somewhere, right? So here comes the calculation, and the calculation comes like this. So the vertical resolution of the screen is 4080 minus 38, right? So 442, right? Should be, but no, plus 1, 443. So we put here 0 and here 443. That's it. Perfectly aligned? No, minus 1. So my mistake. Sorry, guys. We're gonna put it away 2 like this. Okay. So now right click, edit, fill with foreground color. That's it. Perfect. So now we have this is a perfect 16:9 frame, right? But why do we need it, right? So imagine that we're filming in 4.2 and this entire inner part, which is 16:9, is 4.2, right? 4.2K. So, but we want to see the safe area for UHD within the 4.2 mode, right? So for that, we need to create what? We need to create a safe area box, and that safe area box is the size of 670 by 377, right? Because here's the UHD, here's the safe screen. So 670 by 377. So what we're gonna do, another rectangle, we're gonna put it 670 by 377. That's the size, right? So should be somewhere here, right? Should be somewhere here. Right now we need the position, right? And the position is 52.25. 52, so 25 here and 52 here. That's it. So now it's perfectly centered. But this is just a selection rectangle, right? Now we need to make sure that this rectangle has some kind of color. So what we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here and choose the, change the foreground color to, well, let's say, I like green, right? Green is what? 6. Index 6, green. Okay, so now, right click, edit, but instead of fill, background, whatever, you go to stroke selection. And in this stroke selection, you put a line, foreground color, line width, I would say 3 is fine. 3 is visible, so 3 dots. And stroke, that's it. Now we have this green safe area here, which corresponds exactly to UHD 4K within the 4.2K preview screen. That's it. And I guess I'm gonna save it. In order to save it in GIMP, you need to put export as. Here, I will name it. What was the name of that file? So the file name is 1:3, 4.2K, right? So, and remember that the length of the names shouldn't my mouth is dying right now. Should not exceed 8 letters. So let's say 1:3. What was that? 1:3, 4.2K. 4.2K. And when you hit export, there will be a second dialog box. So don't forget to opt in for run length encoder and right color space information. So it means that all of that color indexes will be saved inside that file, and it will not be 370 kilobytes or something. It will be super small. Just hit export and that's it. We go here and that's the file. So 11 kilobytes, that's a super tiny file, BMP file, index BMP file. So what else? But remember that Canon EOS M cannot hold more than 9 overlays, right? So why not add another safe area? Let's say, for example, we want a safe area for a vertical video, right? Why not? So, because 1, 2, 3, all in the same, right? So we could go for DCI, but I mean, who cares about DCI, right? 4K. Let's do vertical. For example, if you film in 4.2K, you actually have the highest horizontal resolution, which is 2322. This is actually the only mode in which you can get 2322. That's how it works. So let's do vertical. So for that, let's choose another color and let's make it blue, light blue, right? So that will be the foreground color. Now what we need to create a vertical rectangle, and for that we also need the size of the rectangle, right? So the size of the safe area should be 405, which corresponds to this height of the 16:9 frame offered by 4.2K resolution. So 405, right? And the horizontal one should be 228. 228. That's the perfect, not 16:9, but 9:6. And it should be somewhere here, right? Somewhere. And for that, we again need to go to the legend. And our legend says that it's 246 and 38. So we put 38 here. And 46? Yeah, 46, 246. That's it. So not yet, not finished. So now we need to edit stroke selection, foreground color, 3. Well, let's do it. Let's make it 5, right? That's it. That's the blue 5. And that is the, so now we have, we basically have a 3:2 frame, a 16:9 frame inside, and we have another 16:9 frame, but this one corresponds not to 4.2K, but to pure UHD 3840 by 2160. And this is our vertical social media, whatever you call it, 9:16 frame. So when you film something, this entire white area will be visible to you. So anything that happens in front of the camera will be seen within this 16:9 frame, right? You will have that those data, I don't know, ETTR, time, blah, blah, blah. But make sure that, first of all, crop marks are enabled in the Magic Lantern firmware, and your global draw is not disengaged. So, and you will have these 2 frames here. And that's it. So this is basically, we've created a custom one. So now I will just export this one. Let's export this one as, let's see, 1:3. Oh, let's call it 4.2K. Vertical, no, V. Okay, V. Export it. So that's it. So now we have the overlay, and this overlay will perfectly show you the framing that will be recorded if you choose the aspect ratios like this. For example, we have this and this. So I will mark this as, for example, what was that? Green. So this will be green, and this will be red. Or was it? No, that was blue. Light blue. So, for example, if you have a 4.2K mode engaged in Magic Lantern, your frame preview resolution will be 4128 by 2322. But since you want to film in vertical, you will put the safe area resolution. For example, 9:16. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can still film the entire thing, right? You can still film the full sensor, but when you cut this in post, you will cut it to 9:16, right? So, and this will cut to here. So, but when you film, you basically need to know what are the safe margins for the social media, for example, cut. And yeah, that's it. But for example, in case of UHD, for example, 4.2 barely handles 14-bit as is, but you can use this mode to film in 4K UHD in 14-bit if you downgrade the resolution in row tab, and you will still have a 16:9 aspect ratio, but the resolution will be dialed down to 3840 2160. In this case, you will not use the entire sensor. The entire frame of 4.2K. You will just film the smaller portion of it, which corresponds to 3840, and your files will be imported into MLV app as 3840 2160. But at the same time, they will be in 14-bit resolution and 14-bit color depth, and your SD card hopefully will be able to process it without any problems. Why not obtain for a UHD mode instead, right? The native UHD mode in 1:3. Well, I don't know. I've tested many different ways, and I guess 4.2 downscaled to 3840. I mean, not downscaled, but dialed down to 3840 has a more organic look. So, first of all, the centering in each mode is different. I think I have a video on this channel that shows that. You can actually have the same UHD 4K frame in different resolutions in different modes, but in 4.2K, it is perfectly centered and uses different lines of the sensor rather than UHD itself. But for example, I will not go through this here, but you can also create safe margins on, like for example, okay, let's do it. Why not, right? So we're gonna use the same file. We're gonna rename it on export. Okay, so I'm gonna select all of this. We'll fill it with the background color. Now it's the empty 3x2 canvas. Let's create again the 16:9 margins, but in this case it will be 16:9 for the 1:3 UHD 16:9 preview. So this 16:9 box here will correspond to UHD resolution. So basically, if you work long enough with the Magic Lantern, you know that each resolution has pretty much similar preview, but the crop that you have is different. So let's do it again. So let's create one rectangle here, position it 0, for example, in 0, right? And then the size of the frame should be 720 because this is UHD, but here it's gonna be 405, right? Yeah, so 405. Oh, sorry, not 405, 38. 38, right? Yeah, 38. So 38 here. So 720, 38. Let's fill it with a background color of index 2, which is peach black. And that's it. Let's create another one here. Position it. So let's force the size 720 by, what was that? 838, I think. Right? And the position is 0. And here, what was it? Where's my calculator? 442. 442. Sorry. 442. That's it. Now let's fill it in with foreground color. Now we have our 16:9, but this time this 16:9 corresponds to UHD. So 3840 by 2160, right? And imagine I'm filming in UHD, but I want to see, or I want to, for example, dial down to 2.5K, right? So this one. So 2.5K, which is a 2560 by 1440, corresponds to a cutout in the size of 480 by 270. So let's add a rectangle here. What is that? 480 by 270. 270. So this is our perfect 2.5K. Now we need to position it, right? So where do we position it? So 105, 105, 120, 120. I hope. Was it 120, 105? Okay, so now it's perfectly centered here, right? Now let's add, okay, then let us go with yellow. I don't think yellow is good. When you preview something, I think green is one of the best, but now let's make it red. Red is red, right? Okay, let's make it red. And red is 8, good. 8 is good. Now right click, we are going to stroke selection. Let's not make it 5. Let's make it 4 for a change. Foreground color, good. That's it. So now when you film in UHD, which is this, you will still see all of this in a preview, but only this part will be recorded into the clip with a resolution of 2560 by 1440 if you dial down that in the roll tab menu. And we're gonna mark this as red. Ooh, not that red. Oh, let's make it, okay, red, too red, pink. Okay, perfect. And I guess we can add anything. Well, since we're already here, right? Let's add something like, so this is 16:9. What is that? This is scope. So if you're filming in UHD, but you wonder what will the 239 by 1 UHD scope composition, the framing look like, so you need this, right? So okay, so another rectangle, another sizing, and we're gonna do this. So the size of this frame should be 720 by 301. So 720 by 301, right? That's the perfect 16:9. Yeah, it is. But since, sorry. So now we need to position it. We know it's 0 on the left side. What's on the right side? So on the top side, it should be 89. Should we believe that? 89. Okay, let's put 89. And that's perfectly centered. So now let's choose a foreground color of yellow. Okay, yellow is 15 is good. Stroke selection. Yellow, let's make it 3. That's it. Here we go. Yellow. This is your 239. Filmic look, scope, inside a UHD 16:9 preview frame. This is your 2.5K 16:9, and I guess we're gonna do the following. We're gonna mark this as yellow, right? Yeah. What else? So this one is done. I mean, I'm not gonna go through all of it. So now you know how to do it, right? I have some of the overlays ready, and they will be available for purchase on Patreon. So check the link below, and basically they are ready for most of this, including this, which will be part of the of this exercise and demo. And I guess on this note, I will say thank you guys and have a good overlays. Take care and bye bye.